Okay, so if you manage a website, and I mean any website, a huge e-commerce platform, or just, a small business,
any size,
you're up against this constant battle. We call it content rot. We spend all this energy creating stuff, but that's really only half the fight.
it really is. Content rot is that slow, silent decay where your once perfect article starts to have broken links, outdated stats, irrelevant advice.
And search engines see that.
Oh, they see it immediately. A stagnant website just loses authority, and it affects everything.
Yeah.
Your SEO drops, the user experience suffers, and critically, you open yourself up to security risks if you let the technical side slide.
So our mission today is to give you the ultimate shortcut to beating this. We've pulled together insights from technical guides, SEO leaders like ClearScope and Yoast, and platform-specific advice from places like Hostinger.
Right.
This is a deep dive into the dual strategy. The tools, the techniques, from simple manual edits all the way to complex AI and real-time coding that keep a website authoritative.
And I think we need to set the stage right now. The best strategy, the most robust one, is never just one thing.
It's not just manual or just automated.
Exactly. You can't win with just manual effort, and you definitely can't rely only on automation. It's always a strategic combination of human quality control for nuance and creativity, and reliable automation for speed and scale.
Okay, let's unpack this. We have to start with the foundation. The why and the where. I mean, beyond just being embarrassed by a broken link, why are these regular updates so critical?
Look, it all comes down to trust. Search engines are constantly crawling your site. They're looking for signals of quality, of reliability.
These are judging you.
Constantly. And if they see outdated articles, 404 errors, unpatched systems, they flag that as poor performance. Regular updates keep you secure, functional, and aligned with current standards. An old plugin is basically an open wound for hackers.
That makes sense. So we know why. But if you're sitting on a massive library of content, thousands of pages, how do you even start? Where do you look first?
You let the machines point you in the right direction. Google Search Console is your free, essential first stop.
The basics.
The absolute basics. It's like a traffic cop telling you about critical crawl errors, those broken links. And if you have premium tools, you can add something like RFs to pinpoint pages that are losing traffic or dropping keywords.
But if Google Search Console is already flagging technical problems, why do I need another framework? Isn't looking at performance data enough?
That's a great question. GSC is focused on technical health and performance. It doesn't tell you if the information is still accurate.
Okay, the substance of it.
Exactly. And that's why we need to implement the ROT principle.
ROT. Okay, let's break that down for everyone listening.
Absolutely. So a periodic ROT content analysis stands for purging redundant, outdated, and trivial information.
Redundant, outdated, trivial.
I like it. It's a high-level strategic review. It stops you from accumulating all this digital clutter that just bogs down your site. You might have 10 articles on the same topic. That's redundant.
Right. Or a post about, tax laws from 2018.
That's outdated. Perfect example. Or just filler content that adds zero value, which is trivial. Getting rid of that ROT improves your whole site's authority.
It's about being lean and mean. And this isn't a one-time spring cleaning, is it?
No, absolutely not. Audits have to be a regular routine. You should be doing this, annually at the very least, but quarterly if you're in a fast-moving field like tech or finance.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've used our tools, we've found the ROT, now for the actual work. Let's talk about the human touch, the manual toolkit.
Right. This is where quality and creativity come in. Manual updates rely on human editors for everything. Creation, editing, publishing. It might sound slow, but it is non-negotiable for topics that require nuance or, that brand personality that AI just can't fake yet.
And the main tool for all of this is the CMS, the content management system.
Correct. WordPress, Squarespace, whatever you use. The CMS is crucial because it lets non-technical people get in there and quickly update text, swap images, whatever, without having to call a developer.
Yeah, if your content team has to wait for a developer just to fix a typo, your whole system is broken.
Already failed.
Yeah.
But let's zoom in on the actual credibility of the content. You can't just have one writer covering everything. You mentioned subject matter experts.
SMEs, yes.
Yes.
They are your credibility shield.
So who are they exactly?
They're the people who live and breathe a topic. A lawyer for legal articles, a certified mechanic for car repair content. You need a process where these SMEs review content for accuracy, add new insights, and make sure it reflects what's happening right now in their industry.
Without that manual review, you're broadcasting slightly shinier but still wrong information.
Precisely. And the other human element is training. You have to make sure every single person touching the content understands the brand voice, SEO best practices, and how to use the CMS without accidentally breaking something.
So let's say we have an old, underperforming article. What are the concrete, specific things an editor should do to refresh it manually? Okay, the goal is to add value to that existing URL. First, visually. Add new images, charts, videos. Fresh media makes it look new instantly.
And validation.
Second, validation. Exactly. You incorporate new testimonials, fresh statistics, case studies. Third, you re-optimize it. Check the keywords. Write a better title, a better meta description.
And what about linking? I feel like that always gets forgotten.
It does, and it's so important. Internal links are like the arteries of your site. You need to add strategic CTAs, update your internal links to point to your best, most current pages. It tells search engines, hey, this page is still alive and connected to all our great new stuff.
Okay, that covers the quality-driven manual side. But the big problem is always scale. You can't hire enough people to refresh dynamic data every 5 minutes.
You can't.
Which brings us to the really interesting part, Section 3, the automated engine. When do we let the machines take over?
Automation is all about velocity. We're talking software, APIs, scripts. It's ideal for dynamic data, system-generated info, or anything that needs to run 24/7 without getting tired.
Oh, so let's start with the flashiest stuff, the real-time updates. If I'm on an e-commerce site looking at inventory or tracking a stock price, I can't be hitting refresh. How does that work?
That's where you use real-time technical methods, specifically things like WebSockets or long polling.
Okay, what does that mean in plain English?
Well, think of the old internet, like a phone call where you had to hang up and dial again every few seconds just to ask, is there anything new?
That sounds like a massive waste of resources.
It is. WebSockets change that. Imagine watching a sports game online. You don't reload the page to see the score change, right?
Right, just updates.
WebSockets keep an open, persistent connection. It's like having the stadium commentator whisper the score update in your ear the instant it happens. The data is pushed to you without a full page refresh.
That's a great analogy, and I assume the fuel for that is usually an API.
Precisely. Application programming interfaces APIs are that digital handshake. They let your site automatically pull in live data from somewhere else. Weather reports, stock prices, social media feeds. The moment the source data changes, your site reflects it.
So beyond the real-time stuff, there are also these invisible workhorses, the scheduled automation that runs behind the scenes.
That's your reliable, repetitive automation. The simplest version is just using the scheduler in your CMS to publish or unpublish a sales page on a certain date.
Look, the more powerful stuff.
For the serious tasks, you use server-side scripts, usually called cron jobs.
Cron jobs. That's technical.
A little, but think of it as a server-level alarm clock you set to run a command.
Like what?
Like, check the database for new orders every hour, or delete temporary files every night at 2 a.m. It's what handles crucial system tasks. In WordPress, for instance, a function called redcron runs twice a day to handle all its system maintenance.
Wait, so that redcron thing in WordPress is just a server-side timer?
Essentially, yes. That little cron job is what makes scheduled posts and automatic software updates happen in the background. It's fundamental to how a huge platform like WordPress even works.
Speaking of things working in the background, AI is moving into this space so fast, it's not just running timers anymore.
No, it's shifting from being reactive to being proactive. AI tools can now monitor your competitors' websites for changes, a new blog post, a price drop, and alert you instantly.
That's competitive intelligence automation. What about the predictive side? That sounds a little like science fiction.
It's just data at a massive scale. AI tools analyze huge data sets to predict future search trends or even algorithm shifts, so you can start refreshing your content before the change fully hits.
Giving you a head start.
A massive one. We're also seeing AI automate really technical tasks, like generating schema markup.
Okay, let's pause there. We've mentioned schema markup. For anyone listening who hasn't heard that term, what is it and why is automating it so valuable?
Schema markup is basically an invisible language you add to your page to tell Google exactly what your content is.
Not for the user, but for the search engine.
Exactly. If your page is a recipe, Schema tells Google, this is the cook time, these are the ingredients, this is the calorie count. Automating it ensures every piece of content is perfectly categorized, which leads to those rich search results, like star ratings right in Google.
It frees up humans from tedious tagging. Now, before we move on, we have to talk about the most critical piece of automation. System security updates.
Non-negotiable. You have to enable automatic updates for your core your software, your plugins, your themes. If you delay them, you're just leaving the door open for hackers.
But there's a huge warning here. Automation is great until it breaks everything.
Absolutely. This is the big caveat. While automatic updates are essential for security, you must always have backups in place first.
Because one bad update can take the whole site down.
Instantly. If a plugin update conflicts with your theme, your site can crash. A backup is your only safety net. Never ever skip that step.
So we have this powerful manual toolkit for depth and credibility, and this incredibly efficient automated engine for speed and scale. Section 4 is about putting it all together.
The synergy is the secret sauce. Think of a modern news organization. They have automated APIs and feeds for stock market data, traffic updates, all that real-time stuff.
The machine handles the data fire hose.
Exactly. But they employ a team of journalists to write the deep, nuanced feature articles that require human judgment. That's the ideal combination.
The machine handles the data, which frees up the human experts for creativity, but none of this works if it's just chaotic, right? You need structure.
And that structure is the content calendar. It is the organizational backbone. Without it, your strategy will just collapse. It's the framework for planning, creating, and publishing.
So what does a good calendar need to include to manage both of these strategies?
It needs to outline the topics, the publishing dates, and critically, the people responsible. The SME who needs to review it, the developer who needs to set up the API, the editor doing the final check. They all need to collaborate on that schedule.
So the calendar becomes the single source of truth for everything.
For both manual creation and automated maintenance, yes. You're controlling the narrative and the delivery mechanism at the same time.
Okay, so to summarize the key takeaways for the listener. First, start with regular audits. Use GSE and the ROT principle to find the decay.
Then, use a stable CMS for manual control and get your SMEs to review the content for quality.
For speed, leverage APIs and things like WebSockets for that dynamic, real-time data.
And make sure your core system updates are automatic, but always have your backups in place first.
Finally, organize that entire machine with a detailed, collaborative content calendar.
Mastering both sides of that is the key to longevity online.
It's just fascinating how quickly this whole landscape is evolving. I mean, we've seen how much can be automated now. Security updates, link building, schema markup, even predictive analysis.
The machines are really doing the grunt work now.
Which leaves us with our final thought for you, the listener, to mull over. If AI and automation are already handling so much of the heavy lifting for technical SEO and content refinement, what's the next high-value skill? What's the area of focus that human content teams should prioritize to stay truly essential? Irreplaceable.
If the AI can manage the facts, what unique value will you focus on? Is it that high-level synthesis? Is it proprietary data?
Or is it something else entirely?
The human element is shifting from being the executor to being the strategist. Something to think about as you plan your next content calendar.
A powerful challenge. That's all the time we have for this deep dive. We'll talk to you next time.